Hi, today I'm going to explain a horror, thriller movie EA called The Platform 2. Spoilers are ahead, watch out and take care. The movie takes place in a self-management vertical prison with 333 floors and a hole in the center. Every day, a platform loaded with food descends through this hole and stops for 10 minutes at each level. Prisoners on the higher floors get the first access to food, while those on the lower floors have little to nothing to eat. A strict rule prohibits them from keeping food in their cells for more than 2 minutes, or they will face punishment. At the end of each month, the inmates are gassed and randomly assigned to different floors. Before entering the prison, inmates are interviewed and asked about their favorite foods, which they will be given daily. They are also permitted to bring one personal item into their cell. In the next scene, we meet a man named Zami Aiton, who has ended up in this prison after trying to set fire to his parents' house. He is placed in cell number 24, where he meets his cellmate, a young woman named Parampuan. On their first day, the platform descends with food, and Zami Aiton eagerly looks forward to eating his pizza. However, he is infuriated when he discovers that someone has already eaten the meat off of it. He then grabs a chicken wing which belongs to someone else, but a man named Robespierre from his upper cell stops him. Robespierre explains that a group called the Loyalists has imposed a strict rule no one can take other people's food unless they exchange it. He stresses that it is essential to follow this rule to promote fair distribution of food across the levels. Those who break these rule are called barbarians, and they face a punishment for their actions. Frustrated, Zami Aiton demands to know who ate the toppings off his pizza, and it turns out that Samionia from the 21st floor is responsible. Robespierre assures him that the Loyalists on the 19th and 20th floors will deal with him tomorrow. It is because, according to the rules, only the 2 immediate upper levels are allowed to deal with the barbarian. The hungry man still doesn't care and tries to eat the chicken wing, but Parampuan stops him. Seeing how desperately he wants meat, she offers him some of her croquettes. Zami Aiton seems satisfied for now, but he warns the Loyalist that if there is no meat tomorrow, he won't care about the rules anymore. The next day, as Zami Aiton is waiting for his food, he hears the upper levels fighting with the barbarian who ate his pizza. It turns out that the inmates from the 19th and 20th floors have failed to subdue him, and now the fighter has reached the 23rd cell. Robespierre then informs Zami Aiton and Parampuan that if they are unable to handle the barbarian, the task will fall to them. Zami Aiton seems too scared to fight, but there's no time to hesitate. Moments later, both Robespierre and the barbarian crash into cell number A24 while fighting. Meanwhile, in the upper cell, Robespierre's cellmate Isa frantically trying to get rid of scattered food. When she fails to clear it on time, the cell catches on fire, causing the woman to fall onto the platform in flames. Parampuan desperately tries to extinguish the flames, while Zami Aiton just watches in shock. Shortly after, Robespierre manages to restrain the barbarian and tie him up. However, he is devastated to find that his cellmate has passed away. When Parampuan asks what he plans to do with the barbarian, Robespierre reveals that he will take him to the Anointed Ones. He then proceeds to talk about a master who laid the foundations for the rules they are implementing. Robespierre explains that a long time ago, the master survived an entire month without eating on one of the lower levels. During that time, he cut meat from his own thigh to feed the most needy. Woe later became the Anointed Ones. After sharing these story, Robespierre wraps his cellmate's body under throws her down the pit. We then see some hungrier cannibals devouring her flesh at the bottom. The following day, the platform returns to level 24, and Zami Aiton mocks the barbarian by showing off his pizza. They then begin eating, but Robespierre suddenly throws his dead cellmate food in the toilet. Seeing this, the other two are shocked, so the Loyalist explains that the law forbids them from eating others' food, and one should view their comrade's death as a prize. He then assigns the duo the task of disposing of father food every day from now on. Following this, he grabs the barbarian and descends to the depths of the platform in search of the Anointed Ones. As days pass by, Zami Aiton and Parampuan begin to grow closer and start living together like genuine partners. They also try their best to respect the rules by disposing of the dead woman's food every day. But sometimes, Zami Aiton sneakily takes a few bites for himself, which is noticed by inmates from other levels. The next month, the duo unexpectedly finds themselves in cell 180, which is extremely low. The platform soon arrives, but there is nothing except empty dishes, which frustrates them. As the days pass, they eventually stop caring about the platform, Knowing full well that there will be no food. Zaimi Aiton becomes extremely ill due to starvation and begins coughing up blood. To make matters worse, word spreads that several rule breakers are being hunted and punished by the anointed ones. One of the targets is a fat man from Cellar 24, who used to eat a dead inmate's food last a month. The other inmates ask Perempuan which cellar they were in, but she lies and claims it was 46. One evening, a depressed and malnourished Zaimi Aiton decides to unlive himself. He fears that he will soon starve to death or, worse, be punished either by the loyalists. He then stands at the brink of the platform shaft, wrapped in a blanket. Thesa horrifies Perempuan and she tries to stop him, but the fat man forbids her from getting too close. He then urges her to promise that once she's free, she must find his children and let them know their father always loved them. After that, he sets himself on fire and jumps down the pit. This brings joy to some inmates, while Perempuan is left devastated by the loss of her cellmate. Following Zaimi Aiton's death, Perempuana awakens in cell 51 the next morning. She meets her new cellmate, Sahibat, who is missing a hand from the elbow. Perempuan assumes she's new to the prison and explains the rules imposed by the loyalists. Later, an uproar breaks out when they learn about a barbarian on level 54. The man was previously on level 2, where he used to eat so much until he threw up and now has killed his cellmate. Upon hearing this, Perempuan volunteers to deal with him, but the loyalists stop her, reminding her that only the 2 levels directly above are allowed to intervene. The next day, they hear distant screams, and soon a woman's severed head rolls down the pit. The other inmates cheer, saying that the leader of the anointed ones, Dagon Barbie, is punishing the barbarians. Later, the platform arrives at their level. Perempuan and Sahibat break their bed frame and decide to go after the barbarian on level 54. When they reach level 52, the inmates are terrified and refuse to let them pass, claiming it would disrupt their chain of communication. However, when the 2 women persist, they eventually agree to let them join. One man stays behind to maintain the communication chain, while the other descends to confront the barbarian. They soon arrive at cell number 54, where the troublemaker is waiting for them with a sharp weapon. He quickly attacks one inmate's leg before they can even get off the platform. In the ensuing fight, he manages to kill a few inmates, but Perempuan eventually overpowers him. As she is about to finish him off, the man begs for mercy, claiming that all he wanted was enough food to recover from starvation. Perempuan eventually decides to let him go, and the man rushes her onto the platform to go down. Seeing this, Sahibat desperately tries to descend for some reason, but Perempuan manages to stop her. Later, while the 2 women are tending to their wounds, Sahibat reveals that she has been in this place for 6 months. She explains that when she first arrived, her cellmate, Quiche, explained the rules imposed by the loyalists. The 2 women obediently followed the rules, even though they didn't seem fair to them. However, one day, they came across a weak boy and offered him food that belonged to a dead inmate. Not long after, Dagon Barbie and his men showed up to punish them for this action. It turns out that he was the one who severed Sahibat's elbows. When he tried to do the same to Quiche, she fought back and gouged his eyes. The enraged man so much that he tied her naked to the platform and sent her down the pit, where she was eaten by cannibals. Upon hearing this, Perempuan is terrified, and Sahibat asserts that no one can survive in this pit and that they must escape soon. She reveals that the only chance to do this is during the intervals when the authorities knock them out to change cells. Sahibat explains that she needs to find a way to counteract the gas used to induce sleep, which is a variation of sevoflurane. To achieve this, they need to keep going down and look for something called the drowned dog, although she doesn't exactly know what it is. The next morning, the women awaken to the sound of screaming and discover a naked man tied to the platform. They assume it's the work of Dagon Baby and decide they must leave soon. But, to their horror, the oppressor soon arrives, accompanied by his henchmen. It turns out they are there to punish the 2 women for breaking the law and fighting with the barbarian that didn't concern them. He reveals that those who enabled these women are equally irresponsible and won't go unpunished. Dagon then announces that he will sever everyone's hands, except for Sahibat S. Since she broke the rules for the second time, she will meet the same fate as Hira, a former cellmate, and die. With this, Dagon's henchmen start attacking several inmates and viciously cut off their arms. They are seen screaming in pain and begging for mercy, but the enforcer isn't willing to show any compassion. Meanwhile, say her Batisa forcibly stripped naked and sent to the bottom, where she is soon devoured by the cannibals. In the next scene, Ann wakes up in cellar number 72 with an amputated hand. She then meets her new cellmate, an old man named Trimagasi. They introduce themselves, and when Anna asks what item he has chosen to bring, he shows her a knife. Shortly after, the platform arrives, and Trimagasi begins to eat whatever he wants, disregarding the rules. Ann then decides to go down, and to her surprise, the old man also joins her. As they descend, they encourage the other inmates to join them and fight against Dagon Barbie. The majority of the inmates are fed up with the oppression, so they enthusiastically rally around her while chanting and singing. Sometime later, they arrive at the 93 cell, where Ann notices a painting of a drowned dog and is shocked. She quickly realizes that this must be what Sahabat was referring to earlier. She then informs the group that they have enough members in their army and should rest here. The group agrees with her suggestion and enthusiastically climbs down. They start sharpening their weapons in preparation for the fight against the oppressor, while Ann looks at the painting with interest. The next day, Dagon and his henchmen arrive at the 92nd cell to deal with the barbarians. They demand their surrender and threaten to starve them to death by eating all the food themselves. However, the rebels remain unfazed, and when Trimagasi suggests that they will to the loyalists instead, everyone eagerly agrees in support. Dagon is frustrated by their defiance and decides to abandon them to their fate. In the following days, the group continues descending and survives by eating some of the loyalists. However, Ann refuses to resort to cannibalism and instead starves, leaving her increasingly weak. One day, Dagon's group has had enough and arrives at their cellar to confront the rebels. A bloody battle breaks out, with inmates brutally killing each other regardless of which side they are on. At a near point, the barbarian Ann had previously spared tries to choke her to death. Trimagasi notices this and quickly passes her his knife. Ann then stabs the man, and before he dies, he asks why the painting is so important to her. After the chaos subsides, we notice that only Ann and Trimagasi have managed to survive, while everyone else lies dead. Ann then notices Dagon, badly injured but still somehow clinging to life. She smirks at him, saying that she could tear his flesh off piece by piece and torture him for days. However, she decides not to bother and simply throws him down the pit to be eaten by cannibals. Following this, Ann realizes that the gas will be released soon, so she tears off a piece of the painting and eats it. She then urges Trimagasi to come with her, but he refuses, saying he can't escape the prison. Shortly after, the harmful chemical in the painting causes Ann to lose consciousness and makes her appear dead. In another scene, we see some kids playing on our pyramid-like structure, all struggling to reach the top. A boy eventually becomes victorious, but two adults arrive soon. One of whom whispers something in his ear. The child appears disturbed, and they take him away from there. Meanwhile, Ann wakes up to find herself tied up with other corpses and floating in a gravity-free zone. She notices some masked guards in the distance collecting dead bodies. Ann then devises a plan to reach the bottom level and then seek an escape route. However, when she arrives at level 333, she sees the guards placing the boy from earlier into a bed. Seeing this, the woman is shocked and worries that they're going to starve the child as well. It seems the facility keeps the children as tools to manipulate prisoners and prevent any escape attempts. Ann contemplates whether she should risk her life to save him or escape the place. In the end, she decides to do the right thing and helps the unconscious boy. They descend together to the bottom, and on the way, she repeatedly hits her head against the side of the concrete prison, losing a lot of blood. In the final scene, the two arrive at the bottom of the pit, where a group of cannibals greets them. Surprisingly, they do not attack her, and a woman tells Ann that her journey is over. However, the child still has to live and has a chance to get away. Ann is confused, but she reluctantly climbs down from the platform and joins the cannibals. The movie then comes to an end as the platform ascends back to the top, carrying the boy with it.
Scrolling through my feed all day, memes and likes, they pave the way. Selfie shining bright and true, in this world we make our debut. Clicking hearts and double taps, streaming shows and midnight apps. Virtual kingdoms we command, with a swipe and steady hand. Digital dreams, electric beams, exposing all that's deep within. Hashtags lighting up the night, fighting for the latest hype. Stories vanish with the sun, but new ones have just begun. Digital dreams, electric beams, in this world of endless memes. Trending topics, chasing views, in this life we choose to cruise. World of endless memes, trending topics, chasing views, in this life we choose to cruise.